There is an old legend in Nepal dating back to the time of Prithvinarayan Saha, the first king of modern Nepal. As the story goes, Gorakhnath, the godlike, appeared as a sage before Prithvinarayan Saha. Gorakhnath vomited curd and asked Prithvinarayan Saha to eat it. Unwilling to eat the curd, Prithvinarayan Saha then ate sex, threw the offering to the ground. The sage said if he had eaten the curd, whatever Prithvinarayan Saha would have said would have been fulfilled. Instead, the curd had splashed across the Prithvinarayan Saha 10 toes. That 10 toes symbolized the number of generations that would rule. The sage told Prithvinarayan Saha that his dynasty would fall after 10 generations. The 11th one would be the last king. King Gyanendra Bir Bikram Shah and King Gyanendra Bir Bikram Shah were the 11th generation after Prithvinarayan Saha. Gyanendra Bir Bikram Shah was born on 7th July 1947 AD at Naranhiti Royal Palace, Kathmandu, as the second son of Mahendra and his first wife Indra Rajya-Lakshmi. After his birth, his father was told by a court astrologer not to look at his newborn son because it would bring him bad luck. So Gyanendra was sent to live with his grandmother. In November 1950 AD, during a political plot, both his father Mahendra and his grandfather King Tribhuvan, along with other royal family, fled to India, leaving the young prince Gyanendra as the only male member of the royal family in Nepal. During that time, Gyanendra was brought back to the capital Kathmandu by the then Prime Minister Mohan Shamsher Janga Bahadur Rana, who had him declared king on 7th November 1950 AD at the age of 3. In January 1951 AD, Gyanendra's grandfather King Tribhuvan returned to Nepal and resumed the throne. King Gyanendra studied with his elder brother King Birendra at St. Joseph's School, Darjeeling, India. Later, he joined the Tribhuvan University, Kathmandu, where he graduated in 1969 AD. Gyanendra married Komal Rajya-Lakshmi Devi on 1st May 1970 in Kathmandu. They have 2 children, Prince Paras Bir Bikram Shah, born on 30th December 1971 AD, and Princess Prerana Rajya-Lakshmi Devi Saha, born on 20th February 1978 AD. In February 1996 AD, the Maoist parties started a bid to replace the parliamentary monarchy with a People's New Democratic Republic through a Maoist revolutionary strategy known as the People's War, which led to the Nepalese Civil War. Led by Dr. Baburam Bhattrai and Pushpakamal Dahal, better known by his name Prachandra, the insurgency began in 5 districts in Nepal: Rolpa, Rukum, Jajarkot, Gorkha and Sinduli. On the evening of Friday 1st, June 2001 AD, King Birendra and the whole of his immediate family were killed by a gunfire while they were attending their customary monthly dinner gathering at Naranhiti Palace in Kathmandu. After interviewing more than 100 people, including eyewitnesses, palace officials, guards and staff, they concluded that Crown Prince Dipendra had indeed carried out the massacre. Gyanendra was absent when the incident occurred at a dinner party held at Naranhiti Royal Palace in Kathmandu. Gyanendra Saha, Birendra's only surviving brother, became king on 4th June 2001 AD. The royal massacre contributed to the Maoists deciding to accelerate their goal to abolish the monarchy, and within 5 months took the war directly to the Royal Nepal Army. Gyanendra Saha faced the daunting task of leading a country that was reeling from these tragic events and that also had been in political turmoil since a bloody insurrection was launched in 1996 AD in some areas of the country by radical Maoist faction that wanted to replace the monarchy with a communist government. When he was a king, in Nepal, the NCP Maoists were waging guerrilla war in the name of People's War with the aim of establishing communist dictatorship. Political parties were failing to play their role. The parties that believe in parliamentary democracy were vying for position. By mid-2002 AD, the intense rivalry between several major political parties and periodic flare-ups of the insurgency contributed to an atmosphere of confusion and disorder in Nepal. In attempting to control the insurgency, Gyanendra adopted policies that were seen as authoritarian and ultimately harmful to the monarchy. In October of 2002, Gyanendra dismissed Nepal's elected Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deua. This decision provoked widespread anger that King Gyanendra had ignored the constitution, and popular sentiment against him deepened. He was forced to reappoint Sher Bahadur Deua, but dismissed Sher Bahadur Deua once again in February of 2005. On that day, Sher Bahadur Deua and other senior government officials were placed under house arrest, and mass arrest of journalists, student protesters, and even human rights workers took place throughout the country. Nepal's mobile phone networks and internet traffic were closed down, and soldiers were stationed at newspaper office and television station to ensure the press did not incite the people further. Gyanendra dismissed Nepal's parliament and seized total power, saying he would bring order to a chaotic political scene and quell the Maoist insurgency. But the insurgency worsened. The economy faltered, and Gyanendra used heavy-handed tactics to silence the opposition, jailing and banning criticism of himself, his government, and the army. Protests against this repression soon turned violent. When a curfew supported by tear gas and firing claimed 23 lives, Gyanendra agreed to hand over the reign of the government to Prime Minister chosen by Seven-Party Alliance on April 21, 2006 AD. All the properties that King Gyanendra had, except those he had inherited before becoming king, were confiscated and nationalized on August 23, 2007. In December 2007, it was agreed that the monarchy would be abolished, and elections were held for the Constituent Assembly in April of 2008. The Maoists won the most seats, and on May 28, 2008, more than 2 centuries of royal rule came to an end as the new assembly voted to declare Nepal a democratic republic. Gyanendra left the palace but remained in the country as a private citizen and a businessman. After the proclamation of the republic, Gyanendra has been living in a palace inside the Nagarjuna forest above Balaju, and the government of Nepal has declared Naranhiti a museum which was used as a residence by his ancestors. Thank you.